Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Priya Hassan and welcome to my episode on Astrobits. And today my episode would be something about that's very interesting, which you have definitely seen in the news, and that is basically the return of Sunita Williams, right? So I'm going to actually tell you about the story as to why was Sunita Williams stranded in space and what exactly happened and how is it that we are going to get her back. So let's start off with understanding what exactly was the issue all about. Now, the thing is that I hope you're aware there is what is called the International Space Station. And the International Space Station basically has been giving, to run the International Space Station, it needs to be manned. There need to be astronauts over there to be conducting various experiments and doing the tasks over there. And what NASA decided is that they started giving contracts, outsourcing the job of sending astronauts as well as supplies to the ISS and back through private organizations. And there were basically two contenders. One was SpaceX and one is Boeing. So SpaceX has their thing which is called Dragon and Boeing runs Starliner. And both of these were kind of competing to get their contracts. And the deal was that these companies have to actually show their ability to send astronauts as well as supplies to the ISS and back. And that's exactly, SpaceX has done it quite a few times. And now Boeing was in the process of doing that. So we won't go into details about how SpaceX was doing it, but Boeing actually it started off with Boeing. And Boeing has this is their aircraft, and with which they actually started doing this thing. Now, last year, there was on the June 5th in 2024. Here you had two astronauts. This is the Starliner, the Boeing Starliner. And what basically happened was that the Starliner was actually meant to go to the ISS with these two astronauts who were there on it, which was Sunita Williams and Butch Winston. So what happened is that these two went on the mission on June 5th, and it was basically meant to certify Starliner's capability of actually getting them in space. Now the mission began flawlessly. There were many delays happening in the beginning. There were problems, and finally it happened, and then these people went. But while they went, they realized that there were certain technical problems with the Starliner. Now in space travel, specifically sending astronauts to space is a very risky business. And especially when governments are sending them, they have to be very careful that the astronauts are sent and got back, safely, right? Otherwise, it would be a big burden on the government that if they lost an astronaut in space, if the astronaut dies in space, for example, that's something really very risky. So the governments do not want to risk those things. So when they realized that Starliner had some technical anomalies, they actually directed Starliner to return. It docked onto ISS, but then they asked it to return empty without Wilmore and Williams. And then it was decided that these two would actually come back later on. So there was already the SpaceX contract in which SpaceX was to have a flight in the end of February, March, something like that, to have this exchange of astronauts, and it was decided that these people will be got back there. So originally their thing was barely a 8-10 day flight which they had. It actually got extended to 9 months, right? Now this was obviously a problematic thing because suddenly you had these two astronauts who were actually supposed to come back so soon, but their whole trip got extended. But they were quite sporting about it. They said that they were just following NASA directives, and obviously it was a problem for both their families. Wilmore has a wife and 2 daughters. Williams has a husband and mother, and her Labradors also, whom she was missing. And therefore there was a lot of problem. There were also issues about people worrying about health issues for both these, that would they have some health issues and whatever. But they tried their best to keep themselves busy, continuing on with their experiments and their jobs over there. The final rescue mission, which everybody is so excited about, was sent through SpaceX, because SpaceX was already proving they'd already done 8 missions already to the ISS with astronauts. And so then they actually had a mission which was gone as a rescue mission. They had 4 astronauts. One was Japanese, that is Takuya Onishi. a Russian, Kirill Peskov, and they had the NASA astronauts Anne McLean and Nicole Ayers, and all of them went there. They docked on, they actually went on the 15th of March, and they docked onto the ISS on the 16th. And now, actually, what is going on is that there is a transfer of power to these new astronauts and who've come in to now take over the ISS. And now, what is happening is that Wilmore Williams, along with a NASA astronaut Nick Hague and a Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov, they are going to return back. Now, the rescue mission is also a little complicated in the sense what happens is they'll again get onto the Dragon X, which is by SpaceX, and then they have to undock themselves from the ISS. Then they go into small orbit, and then after the orbit, they literally fall onto the surface of the Earth. And in the case of here you have them trapped in space. They were doing various jobs on space, making letters and doing experiments. And now we have the rescue mission. So now the rescue mission for SpaceX, it actually falls back into the ocean. So it gradually breaks, reduces its speed, and falls into the ocean. This would be somewhere on the east coast of Florida. And then you have rescue operations, which actually get back the capsule onto ships. And then the capsule is very carefully opened, and you get out the asteroid, get the astronauts. So actually, in principle, it's still a complicated thing, but since it's a time-tested one, it has been done repeatedly by NASA and by SpaceX also, and therefore we do hope that all will be fine, and our dear astronauts will come back safely back onto the Earth. So do keep yourself tuned and do see videos about how they come back in and how the rescue operation has taken place. Thank you.